News Radio 700 WLW.
Let's talk to a good friend of ours. He is an attorney. He's been a prosecutor. He's been a defense. This guy's done it all. He is Jeremy Rosenthal. Jeremy, welcome back to the program. Always a pleasure.
Hey guys, how are you?
So Jeremy, where is our good friend P. Diddy? What's going to happen to him? Because this sounds, I don't see anything there where it's like, okay, he kind of has a defense there. No, he doesn't really at all. Period.
Well, he's not been charged yet. Probably that's coming. You guys were talking a little bit about how it's the rich people who can buy their way out of problems. In America, everybody should be able to skate and get through there, get by and be able to
Sure.
search, don't you think? Not just the rich folks. All kidding aside, I mean, this is he had a pretty bad week. I guess he went somewhere overseas when they were raiding his house in Florida,
Right.
And in California, and he was getting on the airplane. So I hope he enjoyed his vacation. I think he might have been preoccupied.
So, Jeremy, let me ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, do you think he was fleeing the scene?
No, he had no idea they were coming.
Okay.
I think that, if anything, they may have been trying to keep him from going, although ultimately they let him go. They didn't have any arrest warrants. The feds, they don't want you knowing that they're coming. And this was a very coordinated warrant that they executed both in California and Florida at the same time. Very well orchestrated on their behalf. But no, they normally don't want their subjects knowing that they're coming. Now, they may have gotten wind. A lot of times, if they get wind that somebody's about to leave, about to leave, they'll scramble the jets and they'll kind of hurry it up that way. But I don't know that he had any idea that they were coming. In fact, I think they caught one of his folks. They call him the Mule. They caught him with some drugs in the airplane. So I think had they known they were coming, you would think they would be clean. But maybe thinking's not a big part of this equation there.
Jeremy, he was all over social media this weekend, pictures of him in Miami and things like that. He's got quite a few, sex trafficking. It's under investigation. He hasn't been charged, just like you said. How has he not been charged yet? I mean, there's multiple lawsuits going on right now. The feds raided him like it was a crazy military tactic, on both houses. Why is he not arrested?
This is what the feds do. They build their case first, and by the time that they indict you, they're ready to try it. All of these lawsuits are probably the genesis of these things. The lawsuits are pretty scintillating if you go through those. There's lawsuits and there's lawsuits, right? I mean, there's a lot of lawsuits that you look at them and it sounds kind of like the North Korean foreign minister, right? That guy and a lot of bluster and a lot of grandstanding. These were pretty detailed and very disturbing. They leave breadcrumbs for the authorities. There doesn't have to be necessarily a complaint. The authorities read these things. P. Diddy's a really high profile guy, so this is a lawsuit that's going to get some attention. All of them are. And based on that, the feds have leads. They talk to people. What they're looking for when they execute these warrants is corroboration. They're looking for specific phones. They're looking for specific computers, specific devices. There was a Jane Doe who filed lawsuit, I believe it was last year. This case settled the next day. Tell you what P. Diddy thought of that claim, right? But wow. She filed and said that they videotaped a gang rape. Well, the feds are looking for that. They're looking for things like that. And once they get it, then they start indicting. There's several agencies that are involved here. There's state and local authorities. Of course, the feds get the pick of the litter. That's how these things work. They measure twice and they cut once, and that's what the feds pretty good at this. And not to ramble on too much, but these are all out of the Southern District of New York, and that's kind of your New York Yankees. of prosecutors. That's the one. Or your Texas Rangers, because they're the
relax on the Rangers. All right. He gives us this every time. But Jeremy, and do they go through? I mean, is it like the movies, or some TV show where they're trying to go? That person might fold. That person's likely to fold. That person's likely to fold. And do they pick on guys like that, or do they just kind of question them at random and go, and then figure it out?
You talk as if you've been a suspect before in federal.
Well, look, I'm not gonna. I do not talk to Johnny Law, man. What do you think? I'm not. You know what? Squealers. You know what happens to them?
Snitches get stitches. That's
right on, baby.
Both of y'all. I mean, look, this is.
We've both done hard time, Jeremy.
Bonnie and Clyde over here.
Let's face it. So what? We robbed a couple of banks.
No big deal.
Nobody's done anything about it yet.
Well, I'm glad they're listening. Okay, so what happens? The feds will typically they do like conspiracies in the feds.
Okay. I get it.
They have these rings of people that they know who the center of it is, right? They know who they think is at the center of it, and they do get the outside people to fold in. And for instance, the young man who was caught at the airport with some drugs, it didn't sound like a whole ton of drugs. It sounded kind of like a sort of a petty offense. That's the kind of guy that the feds could lean on and say, all right. You know where the bodies are buried, buddy. You better tell us, or we can rope you in on this too. That guy's got a lot of incentive to sing for his supper, if you will.
Can I please tell you, Wendy Williams has been in the news because she has frontal dementia or front lobe dementia and stuff. She was talking about this years ago about the Diddy parties and on all the mischievous things that went on. So much so, she had so much information that Diddy got her fired from her New York radio station. And then she went to Philly and got back to New York. But she had been talking about this for years and years. So, that was probably 10, 15 years ago that she was saying this stuff. That's how long ago these things have been going on.
Who knew that a rap star or a music star would get into the business for the girls and the drugs? I mean, nobody.
It is surprising, right? Like nobody figured that.
Well, it's
beyond that.
It's one thing to get in with the with the girls and the drugs, but it's also then you start moving into trafficking and all that stuff. And Jeremy, let's serious up here for a second. Why does someone do that? Just because they think they can?
I don't know. That's a great question. So when you talk about trafficking is going to be just moving people from one place to another by any means, right? It can be coercive. It can be money. When we talk about moving prostitutes from one location to another, that's trafficking. In this instance, one of the allegations in the lawsuits is that these were minors. That may be what has kind of the feds fancy here, but I think from a standpoint of mitigation, if you will, a lot of times maybe somebody like P. Diddy maybe the ship just gets too far from the dock. Mm-hmm. Start doing one thing and then it drifts into something else. He's done it with impunity for so long that maybe he's just kind of lost track of the damage that he's doing. I mean, it could be that simple. I mean, it's hard to know why somebody thinks that all of this is okay, but clearly this person is not. He doesn't live in the same reality as we do.
No, definitely. And drugging people and drugging people and then videotaping them to get them on the best record deal. I know a lot of speculation around Justin Bieber when he was a little boy too, and Usher, and just the amount of allegations and videos and things that are coming out. It's not going to go well for him. That's for sure.
It doesn't sound it sounds pretty troubling. But again, the bright lining, if I can go here again, is that hopefully it sounds like some lawyers are going to get paid a lot. That's good.
Well, and we know how you lawyers enjoy the payout at the end. As long as justice is served and lawyers are paid,
everything's right in the world.
Everything's right in the world. Jeremy,
do you want me? You want your lawyer showing up at the courthouse with like a Fred Flintstone car with hard plastic tires?
No, none at all. See, I want my.
You gotta show up in a nice town car.
I don't want I want my lawyer showing up not in flip flops and cutoffs. I want him to wear a nice, the tight suit and those fine spats in a nice car.
You want your lawyer showing up in a Mercedes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well, apparently you do anyway. So, Jeremy Rosenthal, with that, we're going to let you go. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeremy.
See ya, buddy.
Oh, my gosh.
Jeremy's my kind of lawyer.
He is. Absolutely.